You're invited to join us for our 2024 Sedona Transcendence Retreat, taking place during the fall equinox, right here in the spiraling vortex of Sedona, Arizona, featuring world-renowned psychics, channelers, and mediums demonstrating their gifts and teaching their techniques. This immersive retreat includes indoor interactive workshops and outdoor vortex journeys. Just visit SedonaTranscendenceRetreat.com. We'll see you in Sedona. For my 2024 Fall Equinox Transcendence Retreat, I'm so excited to include mediums. I've always been fascinated by their ability to tune in to those who have passed on and the closure and connection they bring families when they're able to communicate with their loved ones. I'm so excited to introduce you to medium Kelly Palmatier. She is a full-time professional psychic medium based out of Asheville, North Carolina. She's been involved in psychic energy work for more than 30 years. Kelly says she loves what she does because she brings people inner peace and inspiration through her psychic readings and mediumship. I'm so delighted to introduce to you Kelly Palmatier. Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited to be here today with psychic and medium Kelly Palmatier. Welcome, Kelly.
Hi, thanks so much for having me.
And Kelly was our sponsor at our March Sedona Ascension Retreat. And so she got an opportunity to come out on stage. And I was really blown away by her on stage presentation, really connecting with the audience and offering some really enlightening messages around psychic and mediumship. And so, Kelly, let's just start by diving in to your own personal journey and how you came to do psychic and mediumship for clients.
Sure. Well, I've been psychic my whole life, but I think most of us have some sort of psychic ability to some degree. I definitely had like little things happen to me as a child, but I was just intensely interested in it. And so I read books and I tried things all throughout high school and college and really learned so much along the way just trying things out. I actually studied parapsychology at University of Kent at Canterbury with Professor Chris Cherry over there. And then I mentored under professional psychic Joe Wynn in Sussex, England, when I lived there. So that's when I really got to be the strongest with my psychic skills. But it was only recently in 2017, I actually got a direct message from Spirit telling me to become a medium.
Okay. Because there is a difference, and I heard you say in an interview that all mediums are psychics, but not all psychics are mediums. And I just thought that was so spot on.
Yeah, well, and a lot of people don't realize that, but the fact is, a psychic is just someone who picks up on information outside of the five physical senses, whereas a medium is someone who uses those skills to connect with loved ones who've crossed over.
And I think it's so interesting how it was a download for you, a message from spirit versus a conscious choice.
Right. Yeah, that moment in 2017, I was actually sitting at the base of a waterfall, meditating, praying, getting in touch with nature and spirit, talking to my loved ones who've crossed over, never expecting a tangible answer, of course. but I was asking for guidance. I just said, I want to make a difference in the world. If there's something I can do to help others that I'm not already doing, please give me a sign and I'll see what I can do. Well, of course, I was expecting something subtle, like a friend loans me a book or something like that. But what I got was a lightning bolt. No, I'm kidding, but it felt like one. What I
Sure.
got was like, boom, the answer just popped into my head that I should learn to channel for loved ones who've crossed over. So I was like, okay, how shall I do this? And the answer just boom popped right into my head to spend time in meditation, read books, connect with other psychics and mediums. So I started doing all of that right away. By the end of the month, I was channeling.
Wow. And that is such a powerful contribution in people's lives when they can connect with their past loved ones. I have seen remarkable transformations in people's grief when
Mhm.
they have been able to connect.
Mhm.
And so tell me what your experience with people has been about, prior to connecting and after they've had an opportunity to.
Certainly. Well, I mean, it doesn't take an expert to tell you that grief is hard, right? People come to me and they've been in turmoil, grief, and despair for years. And what happens is when I'm able to bring through evidential information that shows that it truly is their loved one here with us, that has the ability to erase at least a large component of the grief. Because when they realize that their loved one is not only still in existence somewhere, but they have the ability to come here and visit us and provide evidence that it's truly them, that's really life altering. So I'm hearing people tell me that I have given them a sense of inner peace that they have been seeking for years. And there's no greater feeling than that.
Mm, what a beautiful offering that is, Kelly.
Mhm.
And so you've been doing it for almost 7 years now, the
Mhm.
mediumship readings. Is that strictly what you do? Because I think I also saw you using a tarot deck.
That's correct. I am a psychic and a medium. So I do offer psychic readings, which are great for getting insight into the path you're on at the moment and what may be coming up for you in the future. And then my mediumship readings are good for reconnecting with loved ones who've crossed over. I actually, as I mentioned earlier, I started off as a psychic doing psychic readings. It was actually when I lived in England and mentored under Joe Wynn, that's when I learned tarot. So tarot is something that I just, I've done 30 something years, and and it's a very convenient tool. It's very easy for people who are just starting out with intuitive readings. But what I find is that these days I like the tarot as a supplement, but I also really love in my psychic readings just tuning in directly to the energy.
And so primarily you specialize in psychic readings that give people guidance as to their mission, how they're doing on their mission, what their direction is.
Well, certainly those are very meaningful sessions when people come to me seeking that type of information. But honestly, I'm a psychic and I get people come to me tell me about my love life, tell me about my career, some of the basic things that people want. But obviously, if people come to me and they're like, I'm trying to figure out my life's path, those are really exciting and rewarding sessions for me.
Very good. And so you are going to be presenting at my Sedona Transcendence Retreat right here
Yay.
in the spiritual Mecca of Sedona during the fall equinox, September 19th through the 21st. And so tell me about your presentation, An Evening with Spirit, a group mediumship reading.
Yes, an evening with spirit. So what I'll do is I'll come out and I'll talk to the audience, tell them a little bit about what to expect, and then I'll just open up and start channeling in spirit. And spirits will come through and they'll tell me details about themselves, such as their appearance, how they passed, hobbies, personalities. I even get exact names in about 60% of my readings. So I'll be channeling this information, and people will say, "That's me. That's my Aunt Bertha." And then I'll bring through details, evidential details, so that they'll know their spirits are truly with them, as well as healing messages. Sometimes people who are grieving need to know to let go of guilt they may have. They may need to know that their loved one is right there next to them. They may need to know how their loved ones bring about signs to show that they're there. So I expect people to be moved. Not everybody will get a reading, of course. We've got a limited amount of time and a lot of people. But even for people who don't receive a direct message, these sessions can be really enlightening to witness the healing on the spot that happens with other people. And also, sometimes spirit will do what I refer to as overlay messages. So, for example, I might describe Aunt Bertha, who has all these characteristics, and somebody over here has an Aunt Beverly with these characteristics, and they're like, wow, that's very similar. And then they hear, oh, you need to let go of this guilt that you have. And suddenly the audience member over here realizes this is meant for me too. It's very powerful.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
I've watched some of your group mediumship readings, Kelly, and I can see the impact that it has on audience members and how excited they get when they realize it's them and it's their loved ones. And then some of the sentiments that you're able to share from those loved ones coming through with them is, very heartwarming. I watched one that, I mean, you were so spot on. You were spot on with the name of the individual and the medical condition that they were experiencing at the time that they passed. And the husband was in the audience and he was brought to tears because it just meant so much to him to
Mhm.
hear from his past wife on the other side of this. She was doing just fine and so happy to no longer be suffering.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
And then you have talked about your ability to be so incredibly spot on. And so, do your abilities develop over the years the more you practice this?
Absolutely. Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. Doing psychic readings or mediumship readings, it's just like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Yeah. I definitely, like when I first started out, I remember like those first, I mentioned how started like meditating, and like by the end of the month I was channeling. People were telling me right away that I was getting information that was evidential, but it still, to me, I was like, this feels too easy. And so I wondered, I had that self doubt, imposter syndrome. People kept telling me I was getting hits, but then finally, after I'd been doing it a couple of months, I had put it out in my local community that I would do these free readings to get the experience, and it kind of went viral. So I got a lot of experience really quickly. And after a few months, I remember this one reading I was doing, and I said to my clients, I'm like, is there a Ray or a Roy? And everybody in the room gasped, his name is Roy Ray. And I was like, holy wow, I am really doing this. And of course, that was the first time I ever got not only an exact name, but an exact double name. And now there have been many times I've gotten exact double names, and I get multiple names in more than half of my sessions. So, yeah, I'm super thankful that not only to be able to do this, but that my abilities do seem to be increasing as time goes on. Knock on wood.
Yes, right?
Yeah.
And you are multi-clair gifted.
Yes, yes. So I am an empath. I do feel the emotions of others. I'm clairvoyant, so I psychically see the messages, images. I am clairaudient, so I hear messages. clairaudience, so I get psychic smells, clairsentient, so I physically feel the energy, and also claircognizant. So sometimes I just know things. But everybody's a little bit different, you know?
Some of the mediumship readings that I tuned into that you have on your YouTube channel, which if you're considering getting a mediumship reading and you're not sure, it seems like that would be a good way. They're just little 2-minute clips of somebody's reading, not to, infringe too much on the personal nature of the reading, but to give some insight as to what that experience might be like. And you can just really feel the emotion from the people who are getting the reading as this evidentiary information comes through, and they really know that you have connected. And then on your part, I just really enjoyed watching how soul connected you are to both the person coming through and the person getting the reading, because it would require some very heartfelt support for both, I
Mhm.
would think.
Yeah, it does. And a good reading really relies on all of us. It's like a three-legged stool. If I'm doing a reading for you, I need your energy to be good. I need the spirit's energy to be good. I need my energy to be good. And those three pieces together really make it work.
And so people develop sort of a closeness with you from the get-go, where they feel safe with you. You make them feel like they are in a safe and sacred space,
Yeah.
and then just reassuring them that all is well, and everything will fall into place as it should. I also really respect, Kelly, your level of integrity and
Mm.
how you'll say, it doesn't always work 100% of the
Right.
time. If
Yeah.
for some reason a connection isn't being made, I'll let you know. I'm
Mhm.
not just going to invent things that, that I'm picking up on, like to make you feel like we've connected if I don't sincerely know for sure that we have.
Mhm. Yeah, because then it turns into something that's show, that's fake, you know? Whereas this stuff really does happen, so why fake it? You know, just be sincere and what happens happens, and that's pretty amazing stuff.
That is. And so thank you for bringing up that point of having an evidentiary reading. Because, sometimes with readings, not that most people in the industry don't have a high level of integrity, but there's things that can't be proven, like, right? So, and all of us who do intuitive reading, we're getting what's coming through us, and we're doing our very best to convey that in the way that we're seeing it. But sometimes you do wonder, am I really tuning into that with total clarity?
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah,
So, yeah, the evidence makes all the difference.
yeah, absolutely.
Good. So, and then you're offering a workshop, The Secret Language of Mediums.
Yeah, so this is pretty interesting, or I think it's interesting. It's the fact that when I'm doing a mediumship reading, it's not like Hollywood presents it. You know, Hollywood, bless their hearts, Hollywood can only present something in the two dimensions. Hollywood can only show you something visually or relay something audibly, right? Whereas an actual medium may physically feel something or may smell something, things that just can't be conveyed in the way Hollywood conveys things. So it was interesting to me when I first became a medium that I realized that it's not about just like suddenly I see an apparition walk in and we have a normal conversation like I would with a physical person. It doesn't work that way, or at least not for me. And I don't think it works that way for most people. So instead, what happens is I have to raise my vibration. Spirit has to lower their vibration. We'll meet somewhere in between, and then I'll pick up on little tidbits, little flashes of information, convey that to my client, and hope it makes sense. But it's interesting that it's not, you know, they're little shortcuts that I have learned to take. And it's not just me. I read this in books by other mediums that mediums will often use symbols. So for example, I'll just give you a little taste. I wanted to have a symbol for if somebody passed suddenly or if they were sick for a while. And so I knew a little bit about how these symbols worked. And I've thought, okay, well, if somebody passes suddenly, then I could see someone snapping their fingers, which actually I learned that from watching the Long Island medium, Teresa Caputo. That was something, a symbol that she mentioned, is that she sees someone snapping their fingers for here today, gone tomorrow, where they pass suddenly. And so I thought, okay, well, I could visually see someone snap their fingers, or I could feel something in my left hand, my finger snapping hand. So that would be clairvoyance or clairsentience, physically feeling for someone passed suddenly. Well, then I tried to think, okay, well, what could be my symbol if somebody was sick for a while? If I get a more prolonged passing, what can be my symbol for that? And I hadn't heard of anyone talk about a symbol for that. So I thought, well, what is something visual that's like stretched out? I came up with this. There's this um, old children's toy from years ago, Stretch Armstrong. And it's this doll, and you grab hold of its arms and you stretch its arms out, stretch, right? So I thought, okay, I could visually see a Stretch Armstrong doll, or my arms stretching out, I could feel something in my arms. And so that now for years, it turns out that between those senses, the clairsentience, the physical touch is one of my stronger ones. So I now will feel something in my left hand or feel something in my bicep area to say whether or not someone passed suddenly or it was prolonged. But
Mm.
there are dozens, possibly hundreds of these little symbols. And I just think it's interesting that I can talk people through that, what my symbols are and how other people can adapt these to the senses that they're the strongest in.
I can see how that would be really helpful, Kelly, and a way for spirit to communicate too, with that telepathic knowing of the symbologies that you're using. And so it always feels helpful to have ways for spirit to communicate with us and let us know that they're present. When my father passed, we had talked about how he might communicate with me, and we thought it would be fun for him to use electricity. And I was in his bedroom the day after he passed, and so when I walked into his room, the lights were out, and as soon as I stepped foot into the room, the lights flicker, 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 flicker. And it
Oh, I
made me
love
so
that.
happy that he was all and well on the other side,
That's
and he was
great.
making this effort to communicate with me. And,
Uh,
I told him, have fun sailing through the cosmos, Dad, because he was super
yeah,
fascinated by the universe and the cosmos. So, yeah.
that's beautiful. Well, on a similar note, I was just feeling my symbol for a father. So if you want, we can just see if spirit comes through on the spot. I mentioned earlier off camera that it's kind of like working with kids or animals. You never know what you're going to get. But if you want to try a little impromptu, we'll see if something comes through now. We can.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. I would love to.
Sure. All right, hang on just a moment. Let me see what I get.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I did receive my symbol for a father figure, which you've already mentioned that you have a father in spirit. So that's not evidentiary, it's not evidential, but it is confirming what you were talking about. Now, I also was just back to the symbols, was feeling something in my head, but the way I was receiving it, it's more across the front of my forehead, which for me typically is going to be a symbol of some sort of issue with brain function. This does not have to be for your father. This could be for anybody living or in spirit, but I want to talk about brain function. So that could be something like Alzheimer's, dementia, cognitive decline. If not that, it could be another type of brain function, anxiety, depression, mental illness, addiction. Do you know anyone who had an issue with brain function?
My mother has advanced dementia.
Oh, she has advanced dementia now. Okay. All right. So, thank you for that. One moment. Let me see what else I get. Okay. I feel like I want to acknowledge that your father is saying that he watches over your mother.
Yay.
Yeah. So, and then also, something that's very interesting, and I did not know this until I became a medium, but people who are very advanced in the cognitive function degradation, I've learned that they actually do not spend all of their time stuck in their physical body, that their spirits actually do come out and travel a bit. Because sometimes I've actually gotten messages from people who are in their physical bodies still, but going through dementia. So let me just see what else I get, if anything comes through. One moment. I feel like I want to talk about something that smells beautiful, and I feel like this is related to you and your mother. I don't know if you have recently brought her flowers or perfume or something like that, but I feel like I'm getting an acknowledgement of a memory of you sharing something with your mother that smelled very good. Do you understand this?
I do, and I did bring her flowers recently.
Oh,
Also, she, in a very beautiful time of her life, had a gorgeous garden. People came from far and wide to see my mother's garden, and my
oh,
father
that's
and mother
beautiful.
worked together on this garden, and there was lots
Oh,
of flowers, and so we talk about that pretty regularly when we're together.
oh, oh, that's so nice. So nice. And then I also am feeling something in one of my knees at the moment. Sometimes that's going to be literal, where somebody had an issue with their knees, or it's also my symbol for diabetes.
My mother has diabetes,
Okay.
definitely. Yeah, it's becoming more of an issue.
Okay. All right. I feel like both, I feel like your father, I'm getting messages from your father, but I feel like that I kind of feel the energy of your mother, like she's in agreement. But I'm getting the messages more directly from your father, and I feel like he wants to say thank you for everything that you're doing for her. Um, and he says that you can let go of any worry around that, that he is surrounding her with love and light, and you can just be there for her, but you don't have to hold on to any worry. Okay.
Oh, thank you for that. That means so much to me. And
Good, good.
my mother does see my father on a regular basis and will actually tell
Oh,
me that your
oh.
father came in and gave me a kiss this morning. Right? And so, and she does
Good.
ask about him, sometimes aware that he's passed, sometimes not aware that he's passed,
Sure.
but she's always, "Where's your father? What's he doing right now?" Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm so glad that was helpful.
Thank
Nice.
you. That was really beautiful,
Absolutely.
Kelly.
Good, good.
Yay. Oh, I can see how much joy you must bring into people's lives just by
Oh, I'm
affirming
so
for
thankful.
them and
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
positive messages of beautiful energy and
yeah, that's actually why my company name is Channeling White Light, because I'm channeling white light towards a better world. When I'm connecting with spirit, I ask for only spirits of high vibration or benevolent intent to bring forth positive messages that serve highest good. So I only work in the realm of light.
Mm.
It's also helpful for me if I'm doing a psychic reading because I don't want to convey a message that's going to instill worry or fear in somebody. So I ask my spirit guides, I work with my spirit guides so that the information that comes through is information that will be helpful. So it doesn't mean that things that are negative won't come through. It means they'll only come through if there's a benefit to their client, to my client knowing it. If there's a challenge coming up, or there's absolutely no benefit in my client hearing it, then I ask my spirit guides to not even show me. So
Mm.
yeah, working with light is so rewarding to be able to do it like this.
And your delivery of the messages, my dear, right, is really beautiful. And so even if there was something that maybe your client needed to address, a challenge or, something potentially arising, I imagine that you deliver it in such a beautiful, heartfelt way that it's received.
Thank you. It's actually pretty easy because when my clients come in, I look for the good in them. And so I really do feel connected with the people that I read for.
Mm. I can tell. And now having my own personal experience of it, my heart feels expanded.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
Ah, well, thank you so much, Kelly. I'm so excited that you're going to be part of our Sedona Transcendence Retreat. Your
Yeah,
presentation and workshop just sound brilliant and so inspiring. So thank you very much. Is there anything that you would like to share with our audience as far as how to connect with you?
sure. Yeah. So I do readings for people now. You can just look at my website, channelingwhitelight.com, and book a psychic reading, book a mediumship reading, book a psychic development mentorship session. So my website has all the information about the services. I offer sliding scale rates, and you can see my full availability and book appointments right there for either in person in Asheville, North Carolina, or remotely by phone or video call all across the world.
Mm. Bless you for all that you're doing to make a positive difference in the world, Kelly, channeling white light.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all for joining us. We'll see you in Sedona.
Is the letter J relevant? James?
Oh my God, yes.
Is that his name?
Yes.
Oh, okay, perfect. Yeah. Is it Dorothy?
Oh my, yes, that's her. Oh.
I feel like I want to talk about whales or dolphins.
Oh my God. Oh, orcas is a family joke. Yeah.
Ah,
She was terrified of orcas, right? And so we would constantly send her memes and news articles and things about orcas.
not Francisca, is it?
Yes, it is.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Oh, I love that. Is it Timothy? Is it Allen?
Yes, ma'am.
Timothy Allen. So that's an exact double name. All right. I want to talk about an albatross. So, there's that old myth about wearing an albatross around your neck.
My uncle that passed away of brain cancer had one on in his coffin.
Oh
He
my.
adored them.
Now, is William or the letter W?
Yeah.
His name is William?
Yes.
Oh.
That's the love of my life.
Oh. Good.
You're invited to join Kelly and I and many other presenters for our Sedona Transcendence Retreat. Just use coupon code Kelly in Sedona for a 10% discount. Just visit SedonaTranscendenceRetreat.com. We'll see you in Sedona.